Hello, everyone. It's Reagan here. Thanks for being here. I just want to pop in and share some messages from the heart today that I'm feeling, and hopefully it'll be helpful to you. Crazy times, right? I've been seeing people all over the spectrum. Lots of fear and lots of doubt. So I just want to come through and maybe give some encouragement and share how I'm feeling about everything, about life, about reality, as well as the spectacle upon the world stage that's going on right now. Talk a little bit about that as well, because it's all connected. And I just want to start by saying that I have faith. I have so much faith. I really don't have much fear about it. And some people might try to say that I'm being naive, and I don't think that's true, because people make fun of faith, but faith can be very hard to have. Faith can be very hard to come by. And sometimes faith is really hard earned in your life. And I would say that is true, because I have personally witnessed so many miraculous things in so many ways, from near-death experiences to healing to just crazy anomalies that many people, especially materialists or people who've never, opened up their self to God, maybe don't believe in or they don't see. But I've witnessed miracles of biblical proportions so many times I can't even count it. And I'm sure we all have, whether it's small little ones or huge ones, consistent ones, there's miracles all around us. And I've seen it, and I think a lot of people know exactly what I'm talking about. So there's a certain point when you witness so many miraculous things in your life that you really, you just have so much faith, and you just know that God is here. God is alive, whatever that means to you. You are sovereign, you are safe, you are divine, you are a creator being. You have nothing to worry about. And again, that doesn't mean fear doesn't come up, because I still feel that all the time, especially when we witness these external plays and dramas and things like that, and even in our personal lives. So I'm not saying, I don't still feel fear or doubt or worry come up. Sometimes I do. But when I sit down and I go into my heart, I come back into my center, I do that transmutation. We're doing so much alchemy. We always have been, but especially now, we're really, really doing some alchemy that the ancients spoke of. Now is really the time of this energy. Again, everything's energy, everything's vibration, and everything we're experiencing and witnessing is consciousness. Remember that, because it makes it a lot easier to sometimes understand the physical events, which maybe won't make any sense, So, it's not that I don't feel that, but when I come back into my center and I talk to my source, my creator, my God directly, and I talk about this in my last couple videos, it's just like light is just shown upon all this darkness, and I remember who I am. I remember I'm eternal. I remember what I'm doing. And I remember there's nothing to be afraid of, because I trust myself. And that's another important theme, is like, do you trust yourself? Do you know yourself? And I know that can be complicated, especially if you're, in certain points of your spiritual journey, especially when you first start. It can be really hard. And I guess that's why I'm sharing this message, because I've had to learn to trust myself through my own life experiences. That's why I don't think it's being naive. Some people interpret that. And I kind of understand, because you should be observant always, and you should use discernment no matter what, internally and externally. I totally am down for that. But when you get to a certain point in your spiritual journey, you can really feel, again, you have an emotional guidance system. Do I resonate with this? Is it true? Does it make me feel empowered? Or, do I not resonate with this? Am I repulsed by this information, And we're all at different levels. We're all at different resonances. We're all at different vibrations. And this reality is a lot different than we've been programmed to think. And I'm going to talk about that too quickly today, because, we've been so programmed. We all have been under this mind control. And now is the time when we break out and we realize we're creator beings. And what we choose to focus on, what we choose to believe in, again, what we choose to believe in, that's a powerful one. Will be. We are creators. We are not victims. If you want to hear someone say how we're victims and how we should be afraid and how everything is doomed and how, there's just no hope anymore because the president's gone and there's just nothing we can do, you came to the wrong channel. You really did, because I'm not a victim. And I don't subscribe to that victim mentality ever, because I know who I am and I know who we are and I know we're powerful. And I know literally nothing can ultimately stop the awakening that is upon the collective of humanity. It's just a matter of how and when. And again, time even is not what many people think it is. It's a useful tool, but it's not what people really tend to think it is. So I truly have faith. I'm all in. I'm really all in. I'm all in for humanity. I have complete faith in what's unfolding, even though I don't always understand it. I'm at the place in my heart. I know who I am. I know why we're here. I know how powerful we are. I know how powerful the light is. And I think that's really the level we're all waking up to now. You know what I mean? So I don't really get down with this just fear porn, hopelessness type of doomsday energy. I never really have, especially now knowing what I know. And I've studied this stuff for a long time, I really have. It's kind of like been my interest for a long time, is studying these systems of control and, how they work and, how we can start to opt out of them. That's just been part of my life path. So I'm really, and again, it's not that I don't feel that, and I understand and I hold compassion for those who do, because we've all been there. This is a spiritual journey. This is a spiritual journey. We are waking up. Waking up isn't just waking up to the world stage. It's not just waking up to the corruption. That's part of it, but that's almost just like the surface layer of waking up to who we really are and what really happened. What's the real history of this planet? Now, that's a really interesting question that will reveal a lot. What's the real history of this planet, of humanity? What are our origins? Where do we come from? Why are we here? That's something we're programmed in. So much nonsense taught in school. It's just terrible. All these Mother Goose things we're taught in about our history that just aren't true or are completely changed and things like that. It can be tricky, but we're not random. You know what I mean? It's not like we just showed up on this planet and we don't know why we're here. That's part of the narrative. That's part of the programming to make us weak. And I've already talked about that. But I'm just saying, nothing is necessarily as it seems. And again, you have to go into your inner source to find the first information. Go into your heart. The mind can be tricked. Again, mind control. The mind can be hijacked, especially if you're on your electronics a whole lot or you're trying to find this external information. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I do that too. But just remember to reel it in and come back into your heart. And ask God directly. Ask your higher self directly. Ask Source directly. And it will be revealed to you, in one way or another. It really will be. No matter what you ask, you shall receive. You really shall. An interesting quote I've been thinking about, that I find to be so true and so perfect for these times is, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, and then they fight you, and then you win. And that's actually a Gandhi quote, and I know there's a lot of different things about Gandhi, but either way, that's some really powerful words, because that's so true historically, personally, spiritually, on all levels. That tends to be how these things go, the truther community, the lightworker community, the spiritual community. We are potent, we are strong, and more we are becoming, I want to say, the majority. Not that it necessarily matters, but the awakening is here, and you can see it, and there's signs all around. So don't be fooled by the Luciferian illusions that, we're outnumbered, because that's certainly not the case anymore. It's like people are waking up more and more, and those who are awake are really deepening and refining their own power and their own vision. So again, don't underestimate that. Just as a quick example, not to get too much into the matrix here, but I did find this to be interesting. And I haven't checked it this morning. I haven't looked at it this morning, but last night I was laughing because someone sent it to me, the video of the inauguration, the spectacle, totally theatrical, just theater, political theater, 100%. I didn't find that serious at all. I thought it was funny. I mean, it's sad, but it's like, it's kind of funny to me because it's literally it's a spectacle. It's an illusion. It's theater. It's like legit theater pretending it's not theater. So I don't know why. It's kind of amusing to me. So I did watch it a little bit, and there was a funny commentary by Sasha Stone, Robert David Steele, and some other people that was just kind of entertaining, kind of funny. And I wanted to watch it because, I don't know, I just wanted to see it and transmute it in my own self, if that makes sense. But anyways, on the White House YouTube channel, last time I checked it, it only had like 300,000 views, which is probably generous, and it had like 3,000 likes and 17,000 dislikes. So just to put in perspective how irrelevant these people really would be if it wasn't for, mainstream media and celebrities and all these things. And then the last thing I want to say on that, because that's crazy, that's pretty unusual. I mean, there's so many unusual things around the world stage and what's happening, and nothing is as it seems. And that's why it is a time to trust yourself and trust your intuition more than, you don't need the mainstream media to confirm anything, because they're not going to do that. You know who they serve. They're not going to confirm anything real at this point. So it's like, you just got to learn to trust yourself. Trust yourself. What do you see? Use your common sense. Be prepared for anything, but it's like, it's not that hard to read between the lines. Just because the mainstream media won't read between the lines for you, or these certain things, they're not legitimate. So it's like, it's completely done. We don't need them to confirm any facts or anything, obviously, of course. So just a reminder, there is so much happening, and it's never going back to how it was. It's never going back to that way. So don't even worry about that. It's literally never going back to normal. It's going to keep changing and changing and changing. And again, there's so many people awake that it's hard for me to even have fear for what's about to unfold. I really do have so much faith in what God has showed me, what God has shown me personally, in my life, and about this great awakening, about this collective shift in consciousness, or whatever you want to call what's happening, these times of prophecies, times of revelations. God has shown me things to the point, and that's my number one source. So it's like, I have complete faith. I'm all in. I don't fear what I see. I don't fear the spectacles that they show me on the screen. I realize what that is, so hopefully that's helpful to you. And the last thing I want to talk about is, I watched a really amazing interview, and I'll link it below if you're familiar with Lori Ladd and Jason Shirka. Really, really powerful stuff, and if you have time, I recommend watching it from beginning to end, because it's all so amazing and powerful. I'm probably going to have to watch it again. Just talking about the consciousness and the shadow, and also in the second part, what we can do to start to really shift that shadow. And they gave a beautiful analogy that I really resonate with, and maybe it'll be helpful to you, about the shadow. And we know what the shadow is. The shadow is this dark, lower vibrational consciousness in the collective. Trauma, fear, evil, whatever you want to call it. We know what the shadow is. We all have our own shadow. We all have to face it. Shadow work is so important, as much as everything is love and light, and, I'm totally down with that. We know that we have to also face our shadows, face whatever it may be, whether it's our fear, our insecurity, our hatred, shame, jealousy, all these things, we all have a burden to carry and transmute. And again, the most beautiful thing about the shadow is, even though no one, it's not really fun to face our shadow, again, whether it's individually or collectively, it's always when you do face it and you transmute it, that's when you unlock greater powers, special powers, amazing gifts and lessons that are indispensable. But this analogy they gave is, they call like the shadow as like a tree. And all these different evil things that we're seeing, and this is in the collective sense, whether it's human trafficking, you know, the world stage, the politics, the censorship, the bioweapons on the food, the shot, all these different things. I could go on and on. All these different facets of this collective shadow manifesting, all of them, are like the branches of the tree. And again, it's like as above, so below. And then all the actual consciousness of those things are the roots below. And so, when you see this evil in the world manifesting, you can't just necessarily hack the branches if the roots are bad. You got to start with the roots too. So I hope that makes sense. I know maybe that's I probably didn't explain it as good as I did, but I hope that makes sense, because it's, again, as above, so below. What we see in the world stage is reflecting back consciousness. And it's not like as simple as just arresting these people. You know what I mean? It's actually not that simple. It's like we have to transmute this shadow consciousness, and it goes deep, and it is ugly, and it's hard to face. But I do believe the more we face it and shine light on it, the more we truly shift this collective and change it from the inside out. And the more we do that, the more we will see the branches transform in themselves, It goes deeper. This is a really deep shadow, And again, if you try to find our real history, it'll make more sense, how this all happened. But suffice it to say that, again, everything is consciousness. And again, as above, so below. As we can see in the world stage now, it's not as simple as just getting rid of some people, that may be part of it, of rebuking this evil that has infected humanity and infected this planet right now, for lack of better words. That is a part of it, but it goes deeper, and it goes into consciousness, and it goes into the shadow consciousness of the individual and the collective, which is, again, connected. So I hope that makes sense, and maybe that's some food for thought, because the more we do shine a light on these things, and we do just hold the resonance of, this transformation, it's okay to be uncomfortable. I think we're all going to have to come out of our comfort zone more and more. I know I have, and always. But the more you kind of get comfortable with being outside of your comfort zone, the more it's just another feeling, the more it's just another experience. We are shifting. It's the unknown. We're shifting into the unknown. It's not going back to how it was, even if it was familiar. Another good example from that interview I mentioned, and when it comes to this transformation, is, if someone has, for example, cancer, and they're trying to heal themselves, so they have a body with cancer, trying to make the changes they need to get to a body without cancer, that's not going to be necessarily comfortable, even though, of course, that's an amazing thing. And, I do believe we can do that. Even though that's a healing journey, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be comfortable. You know what I mean? Because, and this is just one example. Maybe it's not the best one, but my point is, we're shifting, we're raising, we're ascending our consciousness. So it means we have to continually let go of these lower vibrational thoughts and feelings and habits, and a lot of it's subconscious. But as it comes, as the subconscious comes to the be conscious, and we can make a choice, on what we hold on to and what we resonate with and what we let go. Because when you let go of this lower vibrational junk, you start coming into your higher self, and you start having more freedom, more choice, more power. And the last thing I'll say on that note is we really are creator beings. Don't underestimate that. That's one of the reasons we're in this situation, from what I understand, is because we're so powerful that these lower consciousnesses just want to hijack it for themselves, because they don't have the abilities we have. But that's why we come to be sovereign. Claim your sovereignty. I do it every day. I do it multiple times a day, honestly. Whether it's out loud or in my head, I am sovereign. I am sovereign. I connect to my source, to my creator, to my God, to God. This is very powerful. Claim your sovereignty. I know I say that, but I don't think it can be said enough in these times. We do have free will, and we do, have the choice in how we create our reality and what we allow into our field. And a lot of times, these darker things come into our field uninvited. So the more you start claiming your sovereignty every single day, the more you'll start noticing amazing changes in your world, and you'll be able to discern things more. And beliefs are really important. What you believe really will affect your reality so much. So be aware of what you believe, And I think I'll have to just make a whole video on that. But thank you all for listening. I hope this was encouraging. I love you all. Thank you all for being here. As always, we got this. This is why we came here. Nothing can stop it. It's just a matter of how and when, So in a way, just learn to enjoy the process. Learn to enjoy the ride. Come into your faith, and you'll start seeing the external as, what it really is, rather than the prime reality, So, again, I love you. Thank you for being here. I'll see you next time. Have an amazing day, and God bless all of you.